both just have enormous respect for each other.
White gladiator has that big striped spear and the
Look, the judges are nodding. Even the Egyptian judge is impressed.
Until recently, you claimed that the Earth revolved around the sun.
Welcome to History Bites. I'm Rick Green. These days, it's not unusual for a woman to have political power. But in the bad old days, the only way a woman could gain the power of a man was to become one. Now, back around 1500 BC, King Thutmose II had ascended to the throne of Egypt, and one of his first acts of office was to drop dead. His wife, Queen Hatshepsut, remained in the palace, but merely as a regent, an advisor to her stepson, Thutmose III. Now, only a king could assume the role of half man, half god necessary to lead the Egyptian people. So Queen Hatshepsut was politically powerless, unless she became the king herself. Imagine a cross-dressing monarch. It'd be the never-ending story. And who would cover it? Well, it's got to be the boob tube to cover a king with boobs and tubes.
I'm Barbara Walters, and this is 2020. Hugh Thutmose is recovering from a trepanning. We all know her. She's Hatshepsut, and she's the Pharaoh of Egypt. But some are wondering, what about that other guy? Whatever happened to Thutmose III? Wasn't he supposed to follow his father and grandfather to the Pharaoh's throne? Here's my special report on the kid who would be king. The only son of Thutmose II, Thutmose III was raised by his mother Hatshepsut, who stayed on as regent to the boy, who was expected to one day fill his father's sandals. But that never happened. Now fully grown, he has returned from a highly successful military training in the army. So how does Thutmose III feel about his stepmother's exploits?
Wow, she's building some more monuments. Like whoop-de-doo, like ra-ra-ra. I mean ra like the cheer, not Ra, the god of the sun, okay? Like just whoop-de-doo, okay?
Did people hear about this? Did you read about this? Big breakthrough in contraception. Oh yeah. Paul's wife picked up something the other day called the sponge. You don't mind me talking about this, do you, Paul?
You go right ahead.
What was that?
It's okay. You go right ahead.
Okay. I'll just go right ahead then. The sponge, have you seen this thing, folks? It's made of plant fibers, and it's coated with crocodile dung and sour milk. Oh, Nelly. Well, we got a great show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. The Nubian Rovers will be here. Stupid slave tricks. And our special guest is the king herself, Hatshepsut. Say hello to my good friend, Paul Schaefer, right over there.
Are you jealous of your stepmother?
Why? Because she can grow a manly beard and I can't? That beard is fake, you know. I have something manly she can never have. Dignity!
But you think you should be wearing that beard, don't you?
Well, my father was the last pharaoh, and I'm the only male heir, so according to the rules...
2 humps, Paul. That's what I said. I said 2 humps. Okay, what are we doing now? Our next guest was the princess, daughter of Thutmose I, turned queen, wife of Thutmose II, turned regent to her stepson Thutmose III. She's been the hostess with the mostest for each of her Thutmoses. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome King Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut, kid. Well, nice to see you. Thanks for coming on the big show.
Well, thank you. You look great, Dave.
Oh, well, thank you. Just a healthy lifestyle and steering clear of crocodile dung. Okay, now let's get something straight here. Your full name and title, what is it now? Horace, powerful of Kos, 2 fat ladies?
No, it's Horus, powerful of Kos, 2 ladies, flourishing of years, female Horus of fine gold. King king of Upper and Lower Egypt, Matkare, daughter of Re, Kenmen, Amen, Hatshepsut.
And that's all we have time for. Good night, everybody! Whoa. Glad I wasn't the teacher taking attendance at your school.
I had a private tutor.
Yeah, I can see why. Okay.
But no, she starts dressing like a man, and the next thing you know, everyone's like, oh, I guess she must be the next Pharaoh. Instead of the more obvious, oh, I guess she must be a crazy transvestite.
You were married to the most powerful man in the world. You were very, very supportive of him while he was the king. And now you're getting involved in politics yourself as the king.
Well, Dave, I mean, you got to remember, I lived in the palace for years, and I learned a lot about government, politics, economics.
Shaving?
Hey, don't make fun of my beard, or I'll make fun of that gap in between your teeth.
Okay, so who's our next guest? Is Carol Gold? I'm just kidding.
Oh.
But let me ask you, be honest, when you were sitting there, now come on, as the queen, were you looking over at him thinking, I think I could do that? It doesn't look so damn hard.
Yeah, that's it, Dave.
Because you are a woman, you know, you're a woman king. Doesn't anything about that seem odd? And, you know, I mean no disrespect to your very handsome beard here.
No, I mean, we aren't living in the Middle Kingdom anymore. I mean, this is the 18th dynasty, right? Women can own property, write their own wills, represent themselves in court. A woman can do any job a man can do as long as she wears men's clothing and a fake beard.
Well, I think it's very, very sexy. I mean, not a lot of women can pull off a look like that, but she's pretty hot for a bearded lady.
She is totally cool. She's just like so cutting edge.
She is a lady, right?
Probably the most beautiful of all Egyptian burial monuments are our pyramids. How come we don't see any more pyramids, Hoser?
Well, you know how fads come and go these days, Larry. In the first two dynasties, it was those subterranean houses, the mastabas.
Oh, yes, the mastabas, yes.
Then in the fourth and fifth dynasties, everyone wanted to go big with the pyramids. Now, not even 10 dynasties later, and all the pharaohs want to be buried in temples, hollowed out into the cliffs. Who can keep up?
You know, as a young boy, I was very interested in the process of building these mastabas.
Masturbation.
You can see why we got away from building those.
In order for someone to assume the role of God King in ancient Egypt, he not only had to possess the royal bloodline to be king, he also had to have the godly bloodline as well. Half human, half divine. I know the feeling. So, if an ancient Egyptian was claiming to be a half-god, he had to prove that his mom's relationship with the god involved more than just praying.
Now, you were chosen to be Pharaoh by the gods.
Yes, they decided when I was born.
Okay, so here's the part I don't understand, okay? You waited till you were an adult before you came out with this. Why didn't you say something sooner?
I guess I'd just forgotten until then. You know how it is.
Oh, you mean like when I'm at the slave pavilion and suddenly I remember, oh, shoot, I was supposed to go to market and pick up some Anubis brand scarabs.
Well, I was sitting there one day and it just hits me. Wait a second, didn't the king of the gods, Amen, divinely impregnate my mother, making me the next pharaoh? Oh, yeah.
Because you know, folks, you know this, nothing satisfies those munchies like Anubis brand scarabs and dip. I'm sorry, Hat, what were you saying? We're talking about Egyptian hockey here.
Well, hockey's gone through a lot of changes these days.
Hey, we invented the game of hockey right here in this country. And let's be honest here, if you're not using palm tree branches to hit a ball of compressed papyrus fibers, it ain't hockey anymore, is it?
No.
Now, did any of the other details of that day come back to you? I mean, there wasn't anything about me in there, was there?
No. But I did remember that when Amen decided he would like to choose a new pharaoh, he consulted the god of wisdom, the ibis-headed Thoth.
That's one heck of an ibis-headed deity, by the way. Yeah, no one could ever accuse Thoth of not being ibis-headed.
Well, they certainly are impressive. The sheer size of the pyramids of Giza is breathtaking. Each one takes the last breath of thousands of workers.
Yes, but it's not how big your burial monument is, Larry. It's how you use it. Despite their massive size and numerous secret passageways, the pyramids were no more effective at keeping out grave robbers than the mastabas.
Those grave robbers are trained professionals.
That's true. If they want your dried, rotting corpse, one way or another, they'll have your dried, rotting corpse.
So, nobody wants the pyramids anymore?
Well, except for the Nubians. They're still building them for their kings. But then again, they're still wearing leather capresses. Oh, how passé. I mean, what century BC is this anyway?
Thoth figured it would be a good idea for Ammon to have relations with my mother, Amhos, disguised as my father, of course, so that she could not be accused of being adulterous. And after that, it was the simple matter of the ram-headed Cnoom shaping my soul and my royal caw on his potter's wheel, joining my soul and my caw together, and then the frog-headed midwife Hecate giving life to the two inert forms.
So this one was completely by the book.
Pretty much, yeah.
Good for you. That sounds great. We're going to do a commercial now. Can you stick around?
What? Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay, we'll be right back, kids, with Hatshepsut.
In a moment, the circus continues with the bearded lady and the fat lady, too. Back in the 15th century BC, in the nation of Egypt, travel and trade were a big deal. You couldn't just hop on a plane to get to a neighboring country. There were slow boat trips, hard portages, and long rides through the desert on a donkey. International travelers could expect to spend months, maybe even years, sitting on their asses.
Tell me about this little trip you're planning.
Well, it's to a place called Punt.
You're going to Punt?
Yes.
Well, I guess you must be out of field goal range. So, what do they got there in Punt that you can't find here?
Oh, lots of things. Myrrh, incense, ebony, and dancing pygmies, of course. They're very popular at the Egyptian court these days.
And you know, folks, nothing gets those Egyptian courtiers going like a good dancing pygmy. Hey, Paul, give me a little Puntite dancing pygmy music, would you?
Shake it, you crazy Puntite dancing pygmy.
Yeah, thank you, Paul.
A party with this much dancing, this much drinking, this many naked servant girls can only mean one thing. Somebody's dead. And now you can join the celebration anytime you like with Funeral Rock from Cartel. You can party like you're celebrating a loved one's passage to the next life with tunes like The Stones' Wrap Me Up, Jim Croce's Brain in a Bottle, the Nubian Rovers' Wasn't That a Death Mark? Celebrate death like there's no tomorrow. Order Funeral Rock today.
Now, you'll be trading with the Queen of Punt to get all these goodies. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know, but from the sand carvings I've seen, she looks like a rather large woman. Can we get a shot of this? I mean, can this woman even stand up?
No, she can't. But the Puntites believe that the heavier you are, the more attractive you are.
Oh, then she must be a knockout.
Fat chicks and big me.
Hypnosis. Let's talk a bit about your love of art. You've already commissioned several portraits and sculptures of yourself?
Yeah, I've got a long way to go before I catch up with all the monuments what's-her-name has erected. But the way I look at it, I'm young. I've got lots of time to devote to my own erections.
Now, they say you're quite the family man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My daughter is probably the most important person in my life right now. And and I loved my husband very much when he was alive.
Yeah, he was quite a guy, Thutmose II. Mm-hmm. I knew him, you know. We used to play Persian golf together.
Oh, he was a great husband, yeah. You know, he taught me a lot about politics, what it takes to be a king. Uh-huh. But he was more than just my lover, you know. He was my best friend, almost like a brother to me.
Pat, forgive me if I'm wrong, but he was your brother.
True. But it's a really close family. So. He's also the father of my niece. I mean, my daughter. Oh.
That's nephew?
Nephew, yes. Uh-huh.
What about her? Do you see her donning the family beard anytime in the future?
No, she's much more of a traditionalist. She just wants to marry her brother and have a normal family, which is nice.
All right, let's see what's in the news. Abba Ibn was disappointed to discover the Great Pyramids looked much smaller when you got up close to them. George would do anything to avoid dealing with the fact that he was going bald. Kunda didn't mind being her human coffee table, but secretly he had ambitions that someday he'd be promoted to her chaise lounge. They're successful because they use Dianetics.
Okay. Let's talk about this guy, Senemut. I mean, is he an appropriate lover for our Pharaoh, Hatshepsut?
This is a tough one, you know. I mean, obviously the Pharaoh makes the decisions here, but I have to say these relationships between gods and mortals don't usually work out.
No.
Hatshepsut or Hatshepsut?
Oh, come on, what? An older man can't be dating a younger woman? I mean, don't men live longer?
Yes, actually they do. Men do outlive women 35 years to 30.
My point is, God King should be able to choose their own mates just like anyone.
No, hold on there. Because if you're going to start wielding these god powers, you have to accept some god responsibilities. That means picking an appropriate spouse. So let her marry the rolling ocean or the eternal cosmos.
Okay, now, there was a lot of coverage in the media about your relationship with Senemut. What was the deal with that guy?
What can I say, Dave? He was my chief advisor, my accountant, my lover, and now he's not. He betrayed my trust. I gave him everything: land, riches, power, position.
And yet you still gave him his walking papyrus.
Well, I mean, he stole from the royal coffers, you know, and that was bad enough. And then, okay, get this, Dave. He tried to have his name inscribed on the inside of my Jezeru.
Yeah, kinky little devil, isn't he?
Jezeru means my holiest of holy.
Oh, I think we got the picture.
No, it's my personal mortuary, my place of death.
Well, now you're just bragging.
I mean, this is the minus 15th century. I think in this day and age, a mortal marriage is okay.
Well, hold on, I don't think so.
But I get concerned when a pharaoh whose offspring is supposed to be the next leader of the country is breeding with someone who's not even his brother or sister.
I've got to agree. You know, it's flagrant anti-incest mixing with riffraff.
I get disgusted just thinking about this sicko outbreeding.
When we come back, hell hath no fury like a pharaoh scorned. When the ambitious queen Hatshepsut donned the king's beard in 1500 BC Egypt, she knew that her every move would now be under the public scrutiny. For example, how she performed her duties to please the gods so that they would regularly flood the river Nile and keep all the farmland fertile. As well, she was expected to look after her own fertility. To maintain your family's dynasty, you couldn't just put on the heirs of power, you had to produce some heirs.
I have no problem with his age. I'm just concerned that he may be a little, you know.
Oh, please.
Oh, come on. You've seen the clay carving.
No, Senemut is a man doing the vertical snake charm with the king.
Yeah.
Yes, but this is a special circumstance. The king is a woman.
A bearded woman.
Okay. I think we're missing the point here. The point here is that in this day and age, it's perfectly okay for a man to be a homosexual as long as he is the aggressor.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
I agree.
All right.
And that he is using it to humiliate and gain power over a defeated enemy.
Okay, well, obviously no one's going to argue with that, but is Senemut the aggressor, or is he playing the role of Seth in this relationship?
The role of Seth? If you're talking about the conflict between the gods Horus and Seth, we should clarify one point right now. In that encounter, Seth was on top. It was Horus who was humiliated.
Oh,
okay?
get real.
I want to be king. I want to be king.
Would you like some time?
No, that's okay.
Then let me throw another emotionally charged question at you. If you really want to be the pharaoh that badly, why don't you do what most of the other strong leaders waiting for an opportunity to rule this country have done and kill her?
I don't know. I mean, if I marry Nephew, which is the respectable thing to do, and let's face it, my sister's pretty hot. Well, that'll make Hatshepsut my mother-in-law, or father-in-law, I'm not sure. Anyway, add that to the fact she's already my stepmother and my aunt. She's family. She's practically my whole family. I don't know if I can deal with losing so many relatives at once.
Here it is in brown and white. Horus placed his hand between his thighs, caught Seth's little gift. So Seth's shot never made it over the goal line. Horus, on the other hand, scores the game winner.
By sprinkling his seed over the lettuce that he knows Seth is going to eat, you call that a victory salad dressing?
To me, the question isn't what sex the God King is, it's can they do the job? The people would worship a pregnant hippopotamus if they thought she could make the rivers flood on time.
The people do worship a pregnant hippopotamus, the goddess Tauret.
See what I mean?
I think that women should keep the jobs they've traditionally held. Naked serving girls, naked dancing girls. Oh, I think the woman's place is in the home. Naked.
So, we've been removing Senemut's image and name from all the monuments. He's history.
Yeah, well, with his name off all the monuments, I'm guessing he won't even be that. But really, doesn't this whole thing seem a little drastic?
It's called closure, Dave.
Yeah, but if you do this, aren't you afraid that people might try, to deface some of your monuments after you're gone?
Well, Dave, trying to deface a god king would be like trying to erase the sun. I mean, no one would dare lay a hand on Jezru after I depart this world.
No, that would be worse than the crocodile dung.
It's not an easy task figuring out what really happened 3,500 years ago. I had to read a lot of books. But for the archaeologists who write the books, it's even more difficult. They painstakingly piece together information to form a picture of what went on, and then they unearth a new artifact and realize my entire life's thesis is completely wrong. So what we know about Hatshepsut's death is iffy, but we do know this much. She was the Pharaoh of Egypt for over 20 years, and she had a very successful reign. Afterwards, someone defaced most of the monuments that she had erected to herself and almost eliminated every record of her existence. Who did it? Tutmosis? Well, we'll probably never know for sure, but it just goes to show that no matter how much you achieve during your life, once you're history, history bites.
At night, when there was no moon and the people were huddled indoors, the great statues would arise and scratch themselves. Hey, look what happens when I stick my head in the photocopier.
Now, these changes you've undergone to show that you're a king, are they a problem at all when you try to get, intimate? Intimate,
I don't think so. But I have been told that the beard can be a turn-off.
Oh. Hey, have you tried soaking it in crocodile dung?